those days I'll need you just as much as you may need me. Not gonna waste any time today. We're gonna get right into it. How many of you believe that you need God? Sometimes in life we get weak, but I heard the word of the Lord say, I'm strengthened in your weakness. Sometimes we get to that breaking point where we want to give up. We don't know if things are ever going to change. But that's when I hear the Holy Spirit whisper, my grace is sufficient. So we read a passage last week, and I want to read it once again from Mark 5. Just in case you missed it or you forgot. Mark chapter 5. We're going to start at verse 40. It says, but they laughed at him. So after he put them all out, he took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him and went in where the child was. He took her by the hand and said to her, Talitha Kumi, which means, little girl, I say to you, get up. Immediately the girl stood up and walked around. She was 12 years old. At this they were completely astonished. He gave strict orders not to let anyone know about this and told them to give her something to eat. Chapter 6. Jesus left there and went to his hometown, accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were amazed. Where did this man get these things, they asked. What's this wisdom that has been given to him, that he even does miracles? Isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this Mary's son, and the brother of James and Joseph, Judas and Simon? Aren't his sisters here with us? And they took offense at him. And Jesus said to them, only in his hometown, among his relatives, and in his own house is a prophet without honor. He could not do any miracles there, except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. And he was amazed at their lack of faith. You may be seated. In verse 2 it says, what is this? That's what we'll entitle this today. What is this?
The bad taste just keeps rolling.
I'm looking for worshipers this morning. Let's take a moment and just surrender to the Spirit of God this morning. If you ever been down a path where you knew you weren't right, where you knew you didn't do the right thing, but God still forgave you, let's take a minute to just worship God and thank Him for forgiving us, for keeping us, for blessing us, for holding us. You, but God's been so good to me. Even when I started to give up on myself, He still kept pushing me. So I know I'm grateful this morning for the times that I wanted to give up, but He wouldn't let me quit. I'm still standing here only because of God's grace and because of His mercy. Because if it would have been on me, I would have given up a long time ago. Come on, somebody. No matter how saved you are, it still gets so weighty at times that you want to give up. But I have a word for somebody today to let you know that no matter how heavy the weight gets, God is still with you. I didn't get not one amen this morning. So it's going to be one of those. It's fine. Keep playing softly for me. And we're going to jump right into the word. And I'm going to go ahead and hurt some people's feelings this morning since y'all ain't with me no way. Point number one, God's timing is not our timing. Yeah, in the beginning, God created the whole world. Is that right? Go a little softer on me, Noel. A little softer. It says that the earth was void, shapeless, without form. Nothing was there. But God said, let there be light, and there was light. He created light. He created the land masses. He created the oceans. He created the animals, the plants, the people, and then it says on the seventh day He rested. There's old earth theorists, so I want you to be soft because I got to go into some things that are going to require a little listening this morning. There's old earth theorists that believe that each day, because according to 2 Peter 3:8, I believe it says that a day is as 1,000 years to the Lord, and 1,000 years is as a day. So if there's a belief of old earth evolution theorists that says that each day that was designated, it said that he said, let there be light, and there was light. And then He called it a day. Some believe that that was actually 1,000 years that transpired. But then there's early or new earth creation theorists that believe that each day was 24-hour period, like we acknowledge now.
All right.
So that 24 hours, He created those things, and then He called it a day. And then the second day, He created those things, and He called it a day. So we're only dealing with 24-hour periods. And then on the seventh day, He... Okay, y'all didn't read that far. Okay. On the seventh day, He rested. But then there's other theorists that simply believe that God did what He was going to do within a day, and then He called it a day.
Amen.
So there was no 24 hours, there was no 1,000 years. Instead, time is simply relative to God. So when He got done, He called it a day.
Amen.
Whatever you believe, we can all pretty much agree that God's timetable is not our timetable.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten to some points in life where you would have said, God, now is a real good time for you to step in. I'm sure when the 3 Hebrew boys went to that fiery furnace, when they got shackled, they said, God, now would be a good time for you to step in. And when they approached the furnace and they turned it up even hotter, I'm sure they looked to heaven and said, God, now would be, I need you now, Lord. I need you now. But how many of you have ever gotten to a situation where no matter how many times you cried out to God, he still looked at you and said, not yet. Even though you were in the furnace, he said, not yet. Yeah, I'm sure there's some people that felt like the Syrophoenician woman when she cried and said, Lord, my daughter is vexed with a disease. And he answered her, not a word. Have you ever been in a situation in life where you kept looking to heaven saying, Lord, I need you now? The divorce papers have been signed. They've been served. Lord, now would be a good time to step in. They've given me my final notice. Lord, now would be a real good time. They said they're coming to turn the lights off. Lord, now would be a real good. But he answered, not a word. Because that takes me to step 2 of this message. Point number 2 says, God is not moved by your emotions. I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news. His timing is not your timing. And he's not moved by your emotion. That's why you can cry all night long and the situation still be the same. I know they said that crying or weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. But see, again, God's timing is not our timing. So his days are not like our days. His 24 hours may not fit into our 24 hours. See, there's a characteristic of God called impassibility. Impassibility, not impossibility, but impassibility. Impassibility means that God is not moved by human emotion. We try to anthropomorphize God and make him like us. And it said, well, the anger of the Lord was kindled. And we serve a jealous God. We try to give him human emotions. But how many of you realize that God doesn't act on emotion? He may exhibit things that seem like emotion, like anger and jealousy. But it's not because of you. When Hezekiah rolled over and prayed to the wall and said, God, I need you to heal me, it wasn't his emotion that God responded to.
That's right. Make that plain.
When the Syrophoenician woman was crying out, it wasn't her emotion that he responded to. I'm going to help 3.5 people this morning. Your emotion does not move him. That's why you can scream at the top of your lungs until you develop a sore throat, laryngitis, or whatever you get. But you can scream at the top of your lungs and God still seems not to hear you. Because it's not emotion that moves God. Point 3. Faith moves God. That's the good news this morning for everybody that's been down a little bit. For everybody, I want to tell you, Matthew 21:21, I believe, says that if you have faith, you can look at this mountain and command it be cast into the sea. And I told you earlier this week, this one isn't one that's going to come from reading books. This one isn't even one that's going to come from prayer. This one comes from your mouth. The power is in your mouth.
That's right. That's right.
See, some of you have gotten so used to being defeated that that's all you know. Some people have gotten so used to negativity that that's all you know how to attract. But I believe Philippians 4:8 says, whatsoever things are holy, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, I'm just going to paraphrase, whatever has any virtue in it, think on these things. That's all positive stuff. We've become so negative that we don't even recognize positivity anymore. We've become so comfortable with mediocrity that we don't even know how to identify greatness. But Ephesians 4:29 tells us, let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth. Only those things that edify. See, a lot of us have relegated that to cussing. Oh, you know, he's saved, but he cuss. So he can't be saved.
Come on, make it plain, make it plain.
But you curse your own life. You curse your children. Not cuss, not profanity, but curse. You'll never be anything. You'll never get anywhere. Why am I so ugly? Why do I look this way? How did I get so fat? Come on, somebody in here. We look at ourselves 12 times a day and somehow can't find any good thing to say.
That's real good.
Let no corrupt communication come out of your mouth. This morning, I want to teach you how to build your faith. See, I'm moving real fast, so if you find a good moment to shout, just do it then, because this is going to move real quick. Tim, I'm glad you're here. I need a chair real quick. See, what you got to realize is that there's different levels of faith in life. See, I looked around this morning and I watched everybody come in and not one person inspected their chair. Not one person walked around it and checked it out to see if it was going to hold them. Y'all came in and threw your whole body weight on it.
Come on, make it plain, make it plain.
Because you're used to it. You've been sitting all your life. It don't take a whole lot of faith to sit in a chair. Your feet still here. They still planted. So if the chair give out a little bit, you know I can still catch myself. See, a child can have the faith that it requires to sit in a chair. A non-believer can have the faith that is required to sit in a chair. But what about when things get a little different and you got to start standing in the chair? See, that requires a different level of faith now. Because if it wobbles a little bit, I don't have my feet planted to where I can catch myself. See, I'm used to sitting in the chair, but now it's giving a little bit. You know, I can't really get my stability. You know, I'm having to trust on a different level now. It's requiring a different level of faith now. You know, I used to be real stable, but now things are a little bit shaky, and I don't quite know if I can handle it, but somehow I'm still standing. Yeah. See, that faith that was required at that level couldn't get me to this level. See, when I was seated, I could only see so far, and you could only see me so much. But when I stood up, it elevated me. So now that I'm in the public eye, you can see me if I fall. But see, I can see a little further now. I can see a little bit more. My hope has gotten a little bit greater. My expectation is a little bit more because I can see further now than I could when I was seated. But what about when you go from seated to standing to having to trust in somebody else? What about when you got to put your faith on something you can't see? What about when you got to trust in a God that don't always answer when you call?
Come on, make that plain, son.
So I got to get to a level in life where I trust that when he takes a step, I take a step. If the boat starts to rock a little bit, I got to rock with it. You can take me back to that chair, please. Because I hope y'all get it by now. Thank you, sir. See, in life, you got to realize something. It's going to require different levels of faith for you to get to different levels of expectation. It's going to require different types of thought. You got to think differently when you get to a different level. You got to speak differently when you get to a different level. You got to have the right people around you. Because if you don't have somebody that can carry you, when you start feeling weak, you need to find some new people to surround yourself with. Because at this level, it's going to require something greater than yourself. You need to have some people that are so spiritually in tune that they can see you falling before you even see yourself falling. You got to find the right people that know how to get a word through the gospel. So when you can't get your praises up, somebody else can say, Lord, help him. I've been through some things in my life. But if it had not been for God that was on my side, I wouldn't still be standing here today. But it was God that surrounded me with the right people. It was God that surrounded me with the right things. So when I was seated and I was able to take care of myself without any fears, God knew I didn't need as many people to lean on. He knew I didn't need as many people praying for me. But then he elevated me to a place where I was standing on something that was shaking. I was standing on a belief. I was standing on a hope. And that's why it comes a time in life where you got to stop being afraid to step out on the limb. You say you have faith, but you remained in the same job for 20 years because you're afraid to step out on faith. You say that you trust in God, but you're too afraid to make the investment in the business because you're afraid to step out on faith. See, it's safer when you see it. You can't hurt me from down here. You can't even see me, but God said there's a time where I want to elevate you so that people can see what I've done for you. This is not about you, it's about me. My mother talked about the sons of Sceva. We've been dealing with spiritual warfare, and this is just an addition to it. I believe it's over in Acts 19. Where the sons of Sceva came and they said, we're going to cast out devils too.
Come on with it.
See, how many of you know, I believe over in 2 Corinthians 10, it says that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Every one of you in here has the power to pull down strongholds. Every one of you in here has the power to speak to mountains and the mountains be moved. Every one of you has the power to speak to demons and they be cast out. But here was the accident that the sons of Sceva made.
Come on, make it plain.
Y'all can check me out in Acts 19. I believe it says they came to a man that was vexed with demons and said, in the name of Jesus, that Paul preaches about.
I don't know about it, but that's what he preaches about. Come on now, come on now.
Yes, sir.
The demon said, Jesus, we know. Paul, we know.
Watch out now.
But who
You.
are you? It's by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony that we overcome. If you don't have a personal relationship with Jesus, you better be careful. See, everybody wants to jump up real quick, and I'm teaching real good. I'm teaching probably better than you shouting and receiving. But if you understand the word of God, it tells you that demons are simply fallen angels. Angels have power, right? That means demons do too. Angels know God, right? That means demons do too. The same angels that are with God now were with God in the beginning. It says that he and the heavenly host created. So before we were created, God had already created the angels and they were there. When Satan tried to rise above God, he was cast out and he took a third of the angels with him. Those angels became demons. That's why when you talked about Daniel, you said there was a fight in the heavenlies. Because the same angels that are fighting for you, the same demons are fighting against you. They were all created together at the same time. They have a lot of the same powers. They're just operating in different realms. That's why it says we got to pull things down. See, you don't have the power to act in the heavenlies. You're designated to one realm. That's where Satan is designated. He doesn't have the power to control everything. That's why in Job, he had to go get permission. There's some people in this room right now that have been afraid to walk because you're afraid of the enemy. Yeah, he has power. Yeah, the demons have power. But I'm here to tell you that they still got to get permission to mess with you. God's timetable isn't our timetable. He's not moved by our emotion, but he is moved by our faith. Rather, our faith moves things. Amen. If you're tired of the condition you've been in your life, it's time to start speaking to it. I don't care how fast you got over the years. If you start talking to it the right way, it'll have to leave. See, Because when your mind changes and your speech patterns change and everything about you starts to change, you don't even see food the same way. I told you the other day, prayer simply changes your perspective. And y'all getting too active behind me, and they thinking it's going somewhere it's not going. Prayer changes our perspective on things. If you start praying for the people around you, they may not change, but your perspective should change. So the same annoying girl, you might start looking at her and saying, that girl actually needs somebody to hug her. She ain't annoying, she just ain't got nobody to love her in her life. So she keep getting on my nerves because I'm the closest thing to her. Come on, somebody. I just want to help 2.5 people this morning. If you start changing the way you think about things, you'll start changing the way you see things. And if you start changing the way you see things, something that looked impossible before will now look like a possibility. Rodney and I were speaking the other night, and we were talking about the fact that there's a lot of wealthy individuals that act and live so different from us. And I told him, I said, it was my old real estate mentor that helped me to start seeing life in a different way. I had a business partner, and then I met him. They both lived in houses that were over $500,000. But when there came a time when I needed $1,000, my old business partner couldn't produce it. But when I closed on another house, my real estate mentor said, don't worry about the closing costs. I'm going to just take care of that for you. She, the old business partner, drove a Mercedes, lived in a nice house, fully furnished, 3 levels, beautiful home, but couldn't produce $1,000 when I needed it. Mr. McCumber, an older white man, drove a F-150, wore a polo and some slacks every day, but owned 30 different buildings. He said, half the time I go to a house, people don't even know I own it. Because if they know I own it, they start asking for too much stuff. He said, I got sued by a lady and she was mad because I had no assets. He said, I don't own anything. Everything I own is in somebody else's name. Everything I own is in my company's name. I'm here to tell you today that there's some things that you own that's in your daddy's name. I ain't getting nobody praising this morning. See, you've been walking around trying to look like you got it all together, trying to trick these people into thinking that you blessed and highly favored, that everything's working out in your life. I'm trying to tell you today that when you become honest with yourself and you start worshiping in truth and in spirit, God is going to start releasing some things into your life that you didn't even know you had. He's been holding them back because you weren't ready yet. You can't give a baby the same thing you can give an adult. You ain't ready for it yet. God said, I've been holding some things back. I got houses you didn't build, vineyards you didn't plant, and I'm going to give them to you as soon as you're ready. A few of y'all know my testimony. Got tired of living in the house I was in. I was appreciative of it, thankful for it, but I wanted more because I got tired of bumping into the wall. I outgrew the house. My children getting bigger. They needed more room. They were getting on my nerves, praise God, because they were so loud and I heard every movement, but God allowed the situation to take place to where he allowed me to get into a better house at a lower price. Come on, somebody. Ain't nobody praising God in here this morning. The motorcycle I wanted, I took a picture of it first and I put it on my window or on my mirror. So every day I got up, I looked at it, and I know everybody's doing vision boards now and we doing all that kind of stuff, but I'm still taking it back to where the Lord said, write out the vision and make it plain. I wrote out the vision, I made it plain for the business I wanted, for the house I wanted, for the wife I wanted, and God made it a reality, not because of me, but because of my... Yeah, you getting it now. The word of God that we just read said Jesus could not do any miracles. That's what the word says. Jesus, the Son of God, could not do any miracles. Is anything impossible to God? Oh, we say no, of course not. God is transcendent. That means that he's above and beyond. But he's also immanent, meaning that he dwells within. He's everywhere at all times, knowing all things. But the problem is, if your faith isn't where it needs to be, God cannot move in your life. It says Jesus couldn't do any miracles. He laid his hands and healed a few sick people, but he he was astonished by their lack of faith. How many of you in here believe you got faith? How many of you in here believe you got that faith that'll allow you to stand on the chair and not be afraid? I challenge 2 or 3 people to stand in the chair right now. Come on, he ain't preaching good. See, what you gotta do is start breaking tradition. You gotta start breaking with some things and realizing that God doesn't move until your faith moves, until you're ready to get up out of your seat and start worshiping God on a new level. He's not gonna change anything because of your faith. The doors of the church are open. Somebody else is praying. Yeah. We open the doors of the church and none have come. That means that everybody in here is saved already, right? So what I want to do right quick is I want to invite all of you down for prayer that believe that you want to elevate in faith. This is simply a demonstration of where you are in your life. Let that keep rolling. See, the faith you've had got you this far. But how many of you know God didn't bring you this far to give up on you now? How many of you realize that God didn't bring you this far to quit now? He didn't bring you this far to let you stay here. See, where you are now is good, but God has great